Hi Huzefa, how are you?
I'm doing good, Abhilasha. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It's a
Yeah.
pleasure to have you with us for our
Same
podcast.
here, same here. Thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely. So, before we delve into your watch collecting journey in India, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So, I'm Huzefa. Basically, I'm born and brought up in Kolkata, and I moved here in Bangalore in 1997 to start my business. And since then, it's been 26 years I've been living in Bangalore. We are basically into industrial safety products, my company. We are distributors for few big brands, and we do the sales directly B2B sales to all the manufacturing and construction industries like safety boots, hats,
Yes.
gloves, PPEs, etc. I'm married. I have two kids, and yeah, it's been like a good journey so far. Yeah.
That's really nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, let's delve right into the questions. My very first question is, what sparked your interest in luxury watches?
Yeah, the sheer, I would say that the luxury, the premiumness, the feel of these watches, the way they are made, their finish, their the fits and etc. Like many other things are there, but the main thing what drew me into luxury watches was yes, the intricacy and all the high precision etc. like that and that. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's great. I think even these watches have a sense of elegance to them
Yes.
that draws us all into
Yes,
that.
yes. The oomph is the first thing. I mean, I was not getting the right word here. That draws you there. Like you want to have it. Like
Yes.
it's luxury. It's
Yes.
like it's out of the world kind
Yeah.
of a feeling.
Yes,
like
yes.
it's not something like which just tells time or just
Correct.
not any other product. Like
Yes.
it's like an art.
Mhm.
I would say it's basically it's a combination of art and technology. What we say in watches like the movements etc. is a lot of thing, but the dials, the case, the colors, the handmade finishes on the watches is something and for a man like somewhere I was reading recently like when watches were first wrist watches were first made and invented, so they were tool as a tool for men and jewelry for women, but today I would say it's the other way around.
Okay.
It's more like a tool for a woman just to watches, because they have other things as jewelry and things like that, and it's jewelry for men now.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Could you share your first encounter with a luxury watch that left a lasting impression?
It was definitely Rolex. Is the way the fluted bezel, the jubilee. I'm basically talking about dates, and I mean at that time I was not much into watches or anything, but when I saw it first, Rolex was something which kind of made me feel like okay, wow, this is a luxury watch and maybe someday, and I think it's for a lot of people like that brand is an aspiration for a lot of people like that.
Yes, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
when was the time that you got your Rolex for the first time?
Yeah, so my first watch definitely was not a Rolex. It came much later after I started my watch collecting journey. So I bought my first Rolex in 2014.
Nice.
November, it was my anniversary, and
Wonderful.
I bought it for myself.
That's great.
My wife didn't buy it for me. I bought it for myself, and she's been very supportive for with me for this hobby, passion, whatever I have for watches. So she said like you should get a Rolex for yourself. So yeah,
That's great. That's very, very, very nice.
Yeah.
Were there any influential persons or experiences that shaped your fascination with various timepieces?
Yeah, in my business circle, there is a guy. He was my vendor, my supplier in Bombay, and he used to supply gloves. He's a very big India's largest manufacturer of gloves
Okay.
even today. And when I went to meet him in Mumbai, and he used to be wearing, all the time. Whenever I used to meet him, he used to be wearing a Rolex watch.
Wonderful.
I still remember the first time when I met him, he was wearing a Blue Easy two-tone Submariner, and that thing, seeing it in flesh on somebody's wrist, and I was like, okay, man, someday I'll also become a big businessman like him, and I'll also buy these watches. Yeah.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I can say, and he's also a watch collector, and until today he's got a huge collection.
Wonderful.
He's got APs, Pateks, everything
Yes.
now. So because This I'm talking about like 20 years ago. He was
Okay.
used to be wearing all these watches,
Wow,
Rolex and all that.
wonderful.
So today his collection is much bigger.
That's a really, really nice backstory.
and even today I'm in touch and we do business. So,
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's great that you still have connections from about 20 years ago. I think that's really
it's,
commendable.
It's business and we both
Of
share
course,
the
yes.
same passion, so that's
Of
also
course.
again that helps.
I had to pick a favorite from your collection. Which one would it be and why?
Okay. So my favorite would be this Dangerous. This is my first Rolex, and as I told you previously that my first encounter with a luxury watch was a Dangerous.
Yes.
And so this is the watch I would say is my favorite, and it's also my wife's and my kids' favorite as well.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a family heirloom, probably.
Kind of, yes.
That's really nice.
Hopefully.
That's
Yeah.
great. What criteria do you keep in mind when adding a new watch to your collection?
See, basically, to be very honest, sometimes it's just that one watch which pulls you. You generally don't do too much maths and facts and figures. I mean, at least I'm not into that. I also don't consider hype as one of the criteria to buy a watch, or because it's a very popular watch or something. For me, I should really connect to the watch. I take time. Once I see a watch, then I start thinking about it. I don't just buy it impulsively. I take maybe 6 months time, a year's time, or even sometimes more than that. And then when I'm 100% sure, I buy the watch. So the criteria is basically it's the heart connect. It's basically my heart wants it, wishes it, and I buy it. I don't consider anything else. Of course, budget is one of the factors which also determines the thing, because you cannot just buy a watch like that. Yeah.
Yes.
So you have to also be. It should be within your budget, basically. That criteria is always there.
Absolutely, yes, of course. Is there a specific watch in your collection that holds high sentimental value?
Yes, the watch which I am wearing today,
Okay.
the Tagware Aqua Racer. So this was my first luxury watch. If you would call this as luxury, this is almost 17 years ago now, 2007. And this watch, it looks like a Submariner.
Correct.
I was always, when I started, I was always into dive watches first. And then slowly I moved to other categories. But yes, this is a special watch for me because this is my first Swiss watch, my first automatic watch, my first luxury watch. And it's still with me. And it works fine. I've never serviced it. I've never done anything. But I don't know if it really shows the time accurately. But I need to get it done. But it's perfectly, and I like the watch very much. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for telling us about it. You source information and maybe conduct some research before adding a specific watch to your collection.
Yeah. So it's been last 2-3 years since I've been part of a lot of watch groups. So that's one place where I get the information. I have made a lot of friends because of this hobby. So I talk to them and get the information. Then there are a lot of social media is always there, and then there are a lot of like magazines which I read about watches. GMT is one of them, and then there are so many other things from where I get the information. So yeah, YouTube, etc. Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
But mostly it is through friends, I would say, now from last 3-4 years.
So more of word of mouth.
It's more of word of mouth as well.
Great.
And of course there are some guys like Teddy, Baldassari and people like them, Nodinki and Watchbox, etc. from where also I do get the information.
Absolutely, yes. Can you tell us about the one watch in your collection that gets you the most compliments?
The one watch in my collection which gets me the most compliments is the Cartier Santos.
Oh, wonderful. That's a beautiful watch, yes.
Yeah.
When did you get this one?
This I got it very recently, like last year I got it in January. The next 2 months it will be 2 years now, almost
Wonderful.
2 years. Yeah.
Is this the most recent addition to your collection?
No.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
watches after
That's really nice.
Yeah, I'll show you.
That's a beautiful piece. That's one of my favorite pieces as well.
And the history being the first pilot's watch or the first wristwatch for
Correct.
men.
Yes. Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, I think the story and the history always goes a long way,
yes.
especially with watch collectors.
Yes,
So
yes,
that's really great.
yes.
Do you have a specific brand that you're a fan of in terms of heritage, history, or storytelling? Anything else that draws you to it?
I'm a huge fan of Rolex. I'll admit that, and it's not because of the current hype or I don't know. I'm a huge fan of Rolex. So yeah, I like because I still find Rolex to be very very highly luxurious. You know, the way the watch looks, feels on your wrist. I've worn other brands, even bigger brands, higher brands, but the fit of it, the steel, everything, the case, the dial, the execution, everything. I still, it's hard to find a watch which beats Rolex, and the history is there. Of course, it's a legendary. It's my favorite brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
3 words. How would you describe the emotional connection you have with your watches?
In 3 words.
Yes.
Okay, that's something. It's difficult.
Perhaps we can go for 5 words if that is a little better.
I love them very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, basically, I don't know. I mean, this one, I need to think about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll circle back to this.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference for a specific complication? And if so, what draws you to that specific complication?
I'm not much into complication, to be
Okay.
very honest. Chronograph is the max what I have, in my collection. I've not been into moon phase and all those kind of watches, perpetual calendar and things like that. Yeah, so I basically, initially, for the first 10 years of my watch collecting journey, I was very much fond of chronograph watches. Now I think it's changing.
Okay.
Maybe with age and all, I like just simple hour, minute, second watches, clean ones, like the Datejust or
Yes.
even the Submariner I have is a no date Submariner, the Cartier Santos, those kind of watches.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm not much into complications, to be
Okay.
very honest.
Absolutely. Everyone has their own
I
preference.
feel practically I will not be using them. Even the chronograph, we
Yes.
never use them. And, so yeah, that's it. And it makes the watch very busy. But of course, to each his own. There are people who only like complications
Yes.
and more high complex mechanisms.
Do you have a specific Grail watch that you're hoping to add to your collection soon? Anything that's in the horizon?
Yes, I guess every watch collector or watch enthusiast has, and the Grail always keeps changing.
Correct.
Because when you acquire your Grail, then something else becomes the
Yes.
Grail. So an AP Royal Oak Chrono, blue dial, and with the silver, the counters,
Correct.
is what is my Grail watch as of now.
Okay.
I was in Zurich 4 years ago. I had gone for the Basel fair. Twice I have attended Basel so far, in 18 and 19, and I think 19 was the last one.
Yes.
Then it stopped. So after that I came to Zurich and I was just walking around, and then I went to the AP boutique and I got to see that watch, and since that day, that's been like my Grail watch, and someday I want to get it.
That's wonderful. What draws you to that watch?
I like the entire the entire package of that watch, the design, the size, the shape. It's an all steel watch, and
Yes.
again I'm into mostly all steel watches only. It's a sports watch again, chronograph, everything, the brand, everything. I absolutely love that watch, and that is my Grail watch as of today. I don't know. Once I acquire it, then maybe something else.
Absolutely. That is a beautiful timepiece. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing it in your collection super
Yeah, and I
soon.
was offered on retail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was not even like, compared to today, it was probably half the price now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of the retail price, I'm saying. The market price, it's probably 1/4. If I had bought
Absolutely.
it, it would have been appreciated 4 times, 5 times now.
I'm sure you will get it super soon.
Yeah, now it's gone even more out of reach now.
I'm pretty sure that you
Yeah,
get
but
also,
yeah,
and I'm
that's why
looking
it's a
forward.
grail because
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
out of reach
Yes.
as of now.
Yes. Uh, Vintage watches versus contemporary models. Which one would you pick and why?
I would pick vintage watches because of the history, and I personally not been into vintage watches so far, but slowly I think I am now kind of getting the inclination for vintage watches, and I have few friends who collect only vintage watches, and I've seen them. They are gorgeous. They are beautiful. The way the material used, the finish, the things. Because I think anything when we see even the old furniture, the old cars, or the old even fashion industry,
Yes.
the things which were made during that time, even the architecture, even the buildings, everything, I don't know, they put in lot of time and effort, and lot of things were handmade, and that the finish of those watches are beautiful. So I would prefer vintage over contemporary.
I
Yes.
think, if I'm not mistaken, my granddad has an Omega Seamaster from 1964.
Okay.
So that's become an heirloom for us, and I would consider that vintage right now. So
Yeah.
that is something that
Yes.
is one of my favorites.
Oh, lovely. I like that watch too. Yeah.
Yes.
It's very nice.
It's a beautiful one.
It's a beautiful
Yes.
watch. I was considering, in fact, Omega Seamaster, one of the vintage. I was thinking of it, and I recently, when I was traveling last month in Amsterdam, also I came across one sales guy at a store
Okay.
where I was shopping, and he was wearing a glass suit, 18 karat gold watch. It was just gorgeous, beautiful. I even took a picture and everything, and I asked him. He had just bought it for 700 euros from somewhere, and he told me. I even gave my number to him, and I said, if you find one more, please let me know, because it's amazing. For
Yeah,
700
absolutely.
euros, that watch
That's
was
great.
gorgeous.
That's great. And
Glass
it's so
suit.
nice how you meet different people with the same,
Yes.
ideologies and everything
Yes.
across the globe.
Yeah, you connect
Absolutely.
because of the common
Yes.
passion. I think watch is one of the things for men, at least. It's like a passion, also hobby, and then it's a conversation starter as well.
Absolutely,
That's-
yes. What role do you believe social media and online platforms play in the world of luxury watches, especially in India?
Yeah, I think off late it's playing a very big role. Not just with watches, with most of the things in business today, in consumer products category. So yeah, it is playing a very, because I know so many of my friends, relatives, non-watch enthusiasts or collectors are also now getting into watches. They want to buy a Rolex, they want to buy Omega, they want to buy a Breitling, because they see them on Instagram and Facebook and things like that, and the celebrities also. So it's playing a huge role, I would say. Yes, for sure.
That's
But
wonderful.
I am from the generation where I've been into it. So
Yes.
it's just adding more fuel. To the fire for me. But yeah, that's for me. It's like it's okay. But for the general public, I would say the mass, crowd. Yes, it's playing a very huge role. Yes.
That's great. That's wonderful.
And yes, for me also, to some extent, yes, it does. Kind of attract. The more you see, the more you want
Absolutely,
it. The more, it affects. Yes.
Yes.
So I kind of have like slowed down on surfing social media for watches and all that, because it really, then it's all the time on your mind. It's playing that so
Yes.
kind of
Yes,
withdrawing
that's
myself little bit, not completely.
I know that
It helps. Bringing in some discipline is very important in this hobby. It's very important. So you have to have a kind of some set budget or your plan or your goal. Otherwise, you'll go. I mean, like whatever you're seeing in my collection, though this is not the complete collection. There has been time when I have bought watches impulsively, and then I have had to sell them, and then it's a pain doing all that. So social media does play a huge role.
What is your opinion on the growing popularity of smartwatches versus traditional luxury timepieces?
Yeah, so smartwatches, I have never had one yet. The smartwatches are basically, I don't think they are for watch collectors or watch enthusiasts for sure. So it's a completely new category and a different category. Yes, people who are not into watches, they do find it very useful and all. But as in for us, we never look at them as, even watches. We call them as electronic gadgets.
Yes.
So for us, they're not even watches because they're a phone, they are your laptop, they have emails in it and everything. So for me, it doesn't take for me as of now. Yeah.
Do you think you might get a smartwatch just for, let's say, work, or let's say for a workout or anything like that, just to keep track of things?
Yeah, I don't mind it just for using it in gym or when I'm going out for a walk or a run or swimming and all that. Yes, but I wouldn't then, I would go for a very basic one. That's it. But never for wearing it in office or for an event or just, for even time.
Yes,
matter.
absolutely.
To check time. Yeah. So it would be probably, again, a device, a gadget for me, for my health monitoring, etc. like that.
Absolutely. More function over anything else.
Because I've heard that nowadays with the Apple latest smartwatches and things like that, you can even leave your phone and you can just wear the watch. So sometimes that's convenient. Because we have, like, sometimes on a Sunday when you're just going out, you don't want to carry your phone.
Yes.
So maybe it makes sense. I have seen people wearing both, one wrist smartwatch and one wrist they wear their regular mechanical watch, etc. But that's something, again, I am not very comfortable with. I never tried.
Okay. So would you give someone who's just about to start their watch collecting journey in India?
My advice would be to first get part of these watch groups which have come up in a big way. There are many groups, I don't want to name any of them, and also check on social media, like, mostly on YouTube. There are many good watch journalists and magazines and things like that. Get the information, and then understand, learn a little bit about it, and then you can because that was not there during my time, right? So now when you have a lot of source of information, it's always good that if you can get some knowledge and then start building your collection or whatever it is. There are a lot of experienced watch collectors. They've been collecting watches from 10, 20, 30, 40 years who can guide you. Because generally, if you go to a store to buy a watch, the sales guy is generally interested in making his sales. So
absolutely.
Anything you like and you say this is great, he will say, oh yeah, this is great, because he knows that you have really liked it, and if he just gives his affirmation, you will take it.
Yes.
So I think it's you get to get the information, and I've seen like a lot of people just go to the store and they ask the sales guy that which is a good brand and which is a good watch, and then people buy it also based on that. I don't think that's the right way. I think these watch forums, watch groups, are the best source of information. Place to get your.
Absolutely. How do you foresee the future of luxury watches in the Indian market?
Amazing. It's growing like crazy, and what I have heard and what we have been, seeing that India is going to be the fastest market in terms of the growth for the next 5 years in luxury watches. Because this is the same thing which happened in China 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and all the luxury brands when they were booming. So because of the Indian economy booming, if you see the stock market today also, and the overall after COVID, the way India is again back on track, growing, the way people are spending money on travel, holidays and things like that. So yes, I think luxury watches will do very well in India, at least the next 5 years it looks like. And when we travel, and when I go to European countries or even other places in Dubai, Singapore, and when we see the market, we see the stores, we see the size of the market, we can when we come back, we can easily make out that we are still much very small, much smaller than them. So there is, and with the population and the growing economy and the per capita income also growing, I feel huge growth is going to come into luxury market.
That's wonderful. Yeah. So if you could tell us maybe one or two differences that you see between the markets, the luxury markets abroad and the ones in India, if you could further elaborate on that.
Yeah, so they're much bigger. That's one thing. And one thing I would say is that when you go to the luxury watch stores, boutiques abroad, the sales people are very, very, very well trained, well informed. The way they treat you, like when you walk in, you are like, whatever it may be, whether you are going to buy the watch or not, whether you are a collector or not, whether they treat you in a very, very special way, the way a luxury product customer should be treated. They'll offer you coffee or a drink and make you sit, and the way they show, I think that's something which lacks in India. So you just walk into a store and the guy will judge you based on what you are wearing, which watch, and he may not even come and talk to you or things like that. Or even if he will talk to you, it will be just like very this, not like the way they do it over there. That's a huge difference. I feel. Yeah, that's a big difference, I would say. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time, Huzefa.